He says.
Okay, the time is 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and bring this meeting to order. We'll begin with our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will go ahead and open the meeting up for public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and where you live for the record, please. Is there any public comment in the room? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Eric Young. My address is 9594 East Highway 124 in Prescott. I wanted to speak in favor of the proposed work at Lions Ferry Marina. As a small business owner, I know how important it is to keep a business viable to your customers by, growing and expanding and having more services available. I also agree with you guys that there's other work out there that needs to be done. I really want to see, the marina in the future look more like Boyer Park than Central Park.
Right.
But I also know that $6 million project that just got completed in Boyer Park took years of planning and study and grant writing. And I know it's all got to start somewhere. And so my thoughts are, instead of one or the other, why not both? And they're, poised to do something now that, additional income brings more people, brings more tax dollars. They're not exactly spring chickens anymore. And as much as I miss them when they're gone, they won't be there forever. And it needs to be a business that's viable for other people. And some of that viability comes from, the ability to generate the income to pay for some of those other repairs. And I know this is something now that, although it's expensive and whatnot, it's been planned. They've taken the steps to find grants and to generate the income to make that business more appealing and bring more customers and more usership. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments in the room? Go ahead.
So I took a trip just before Halloween out to Starbucks to go fishing. And for the first time, I've always used the state park for some reason. I don't know why. Decided to use the marina, and what a great experience. It is incredibly well organized there. People can unload and load their boats really quickly. The ramp surface is in good condition, better condition than probably than any ramp except Boyer Park right now on the river from Astoria to here. Really smooth, nice, wide, easy to launch. It's probably the only dock in the area that has all the cleats that functioning in one piece. Everything there was not new. It's an old facility, but incredibly clean. Bathrooms were incredibly clean. We walked around the buildings. I was with an engineer relative of mine, and we didn't see any obvious signs of decay, rot. Everything was in good working order. The breakwater was in fine condition. We took a little trip around that. It's an interesting piece of engineering. I learned a lot about breakwaters that day. Having a facility like that in the area brings businesses not only to Starbucks. I personally experienced people who are camping, who come down to town for a day, visit our shops, visit our businesses, and spend money. Being able to put big rigs in there, those guys spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on their equipment. They have the money to come down to town, have a meal, buy some beer, buy some wine. And it's a win for everybody in the county. It's David Harvey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike Spring, I am in favor of the marina I know they're working on some grant. I believe that it'll help fund this. There are improvements, the drive-throughs that they're looking at. I've been here when we talked about the planning of that. Believe it's a worthwhile project. Think that all I can do is echo what he said. I know we get customers from out there at the marina all the time. And they love it, and let's make it a little better and generate more income.
Thank you.
Caleb Young, I live in Prescott. I've been going to the marina for the majority of my life, and I've seen it with and without a KOA. I can tell you that without a KOA, there's a lot less organization. It's a lot less of a viable business for anyone. Nobody really wants to be out there when it's kind of ran like crazy. The KOA offers a ton of support. It offers a lot of advertising. The ability that they have as a small business to advertise on a national platform by following some of the rules and guidelines that KOA gives them is incredible, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. Unfortunately, sometimes with that, you are kind of forced to do things that need to be done. And although there are other repairs, I agree, that need to be made out there, I think that keeping their status as a KOA operator is the forefront and the most important thing. And I definitely agree with the idea of why not both? And maybe they both can't happen at the same time, but why not get this done? Because it's still an improvement, it's still moving in the right direction, and it's still making the park nicer. And that's what we all really want at the end of the day, is we want a nice place to be able to have recreation, right?
Thank you. Any other comments in the room? Okay, is there anybody online with a public comment? Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate those comments. We'll move on to our agenda items at this time. Starting with administrative items, approving the minutes. Have the other commissioners had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yep. Is there any comments or questions or corrections or revisions?
I didn't see any.
I did not see any.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as written and submitted.
Second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and discuss that a little bit. I do have one part that I would like to have corrected under the review of the draft capital facilities plan. It says Brian believes the breakwater is sinking and rotting. Infrastructure needs attention first. I would like to clarify exactly what I said last week, and this is directly off of the meeting recording and in response to Jenny Dickinson's question about what research has been done. And I quote, "What I found out is there is a lot of other projects that will need attention. And this is putting bells and whistles and lipstick on something when we have certain parts of that facility that are rotting, you know, the bulkhead especially, the boat ramp, you know, the breakwater. These are all things that are going to need attention. If we keep pushing them down the road, one of these times is going to be, the breakwater sank or crumbled." And at which point I was cut off by Jenny Dickinson. I then continued, "It might be your job to find the money, but it's our job to decide how that should be spent." Again, I was cut off by Jenny. She said, "Right, but I don't want you to make the public think that the breakwater is going to." I said, "That's an example. It needs attention. And it's going to need help. It's in the capital facilities plan that it needs to be looked at and taken care of." So that was the quote from what I said. I did not say that it is sinking. I'm saying if we don't take care of the things that need attention, we're going to have problems. And I use that as an example. And later in the meeting, we can get into the different parts of that facility. I did not say that it is sinking. I said if we don't take care of it, if we continue to push it off down the road, we're going to have problems with it. So I would like to have that corrected in the minutes.
How would you like that summarized?
However, it needs to be summarized.
So are you wanting to push off correcting or adopting the minutes till another meeting?
Sure, yeah. So we will put that off until next meeting and we will take a look at those again. Okay, review of the monthly budget report and approve vouchers.
No extraordinary expenses this month. You did receive from Tracy the 2 voucher sheets. We held off on issuing the 0DB check last month because of cash flow. And so we shifted it to this month's. It didn't get done until November 1st. So we needed to shift it. So those will both need to be signed we're changing last month's and adding it this month. And other than that, we didn't have any unusual expenses. They were all broadband related. The Civic Corps is the make ready on the second broadband project. Washington State Department of Transportation is the permit to cross Highway 12 3 times underneath for the broadband project. I just think those were the only. Yeah, so, Eddie, do you have any questions on either the income or the expense side?
No questions for me.
So should this go today's date or should it be on since today's?
No, it's today's date.
So do we need to sign those or do we do it by motion?
These are signers,
Okay.
yeah. Did I not write that on here, right? Commissioner sign, yeah.
Well, we've already had it.
Thank you.
Okay, 2024 budget. Need to review the final budget.
So I did not make any changes to it from our last meeting, so it is as it was presented last time. So is there any public review you would like me to do, or do you want to move right into the budget?
I think we should move right into it. I agree. Yes. Commissioner Bedees, let's go and move right into the public hearing. At this time, we will go ahead and receive public comment on our 2024 budget plan that we have. Is there any comment on our budget for this year? None in the room. Is there any comment on Zoom for our budget for this year? Okay, well, we don't have any public comment on it, so. In which case,
Close the public hearing.
we'll close the public hearing part of it and move on to adoption of resolution 2023-04. I don't have a copy of that in front of me. I don't either.
This is, did you,
This one.
this is the one that says we're not increasing the tax levy, the 0%.
Right.
Is that not in your packet?
No.
Because I just.
Well,
It's fine.
you saw it in your packet
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I just don't have much to say about it, so this is a resolution for
2023-04.
And I would make the motion that we approve the resolution 2023-04, indicating that the dollar amount of the increase over the actual levy from the previous year shall be 0, which is a percentage increase of 0 from the previous year.
Thank you.
Second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2023-04. All in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes.
Okay, so I need 2 copies of the budget signed. I have to have 2 originals. So they're right here. That's signed by the chairman and the secretary. And then all 3 of you sign the resolution.
So now the next item on the agenda is to consider adoption of the 2024 capital facilities plan.
The only changes I made to this were to the, from last meeting were I told you in the packet I sent you ahead of time that Wally and Joanne had spoken to the Port of Whitman and found out how much their replacement docks and moorage, I think, had cost, and it was 6 million. So I changed that from 1 million to 6 million, and then, yeah, I put all of it as 6. Oh, and then the breakwater, I changed it to 3 million. But as I said in the email to you, no studies have been done on that. That is just a wild estimate. It is not meant to be taken as this is what it's gonna cost. So that's it. Otherwise, it was exactly the same as presented last month.
All right. So the commissioners are in agreement with that. I would accept the motion to approve the capital facilities plan.
I'll motion to accept the capital facilities plan 2024 as written.
I second.
A motion and second to accept the capital facilities plan as written. All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, next item, leases.
We just have one lease this month, and it is from Jordan Henderson Fine Art. He is a tenant at the a tenant at the co-working center, co-working building. He is thinking he may move out in the next 6 months, building a, what do you call it, studio at home. So he asked for a 1-year lease with the right to get out of it after 6 months if needed. And I have another entity that I think would like to rent that space. So I just told him that wasn't a problem because we had another renter. So it's for 1 year. And this, you sign, not this one. Don't put that one by there, Tracy. This side, on this side. All right.
Next item on the agenda, the Department of Retirement Services Compliance Review.
So the review is done. We are back in compliance. We do not yet know how much back money we're gonna have to pay, but I think it's about 18,000. Yeah, so otherwise it is complete. Tracy is just trying to wait and get the final bill from them. For anybody here who's new, it's because we did not know that some of our part-time employees were required by law to be included in the state retirement system. So we have to pay 3 years back contributions. Yes, it's quite a surprise.
Will we need a line item in the budget for that, or?
I'm hoping to pay it this year, just out of one of the line items we haven't spent. So, yeah, I'm hoping to get it done before the end of the year, so it's clean.
Right, okay, sounds good. Moving on, update on port assets, Rock Hill.
Gosh, I don't think I have anything to say about Rock Hill. Have we had any maintenance this month? I don't think we have.
No, I think, Dave was supposed to get his garage door, but I don't know that that's happened.
Right.
Okay, a new garage door at, which one?
3.
3 Port Way this month. It's the only thing that's going on here. Everybody else seems fine.
The gravel is getting a little washboarded. Who normally grades that?
Well, we have it graded in the spring by Barker. But the problem, what happened this year is that they could not come back after we had gravel spread. So, and it tends to washboard over time anyway, but because we put down so much gravel this year, it seems to be worse. I don't know, I guess we could see if they wanted to come back. It's gotta be the right condition before the work, it can't be too wet.
Right.
And that was another thing in the spring, it took them so long to get here, it was pretty dry, so, yeah, but, I guess we could ask them if the conditions were right. That's really what's gonna dictate whether or not they can do it. But I can check with them. It's just an entrance where people drive up and then their wheels, you know, they start to move it, yeah. But you know, the dust was so much better this summer with the new gravel. It was so much better. So I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, I think that lignin they put on there really helped a lot.
Yeah.
It lasts really well too. Okay, Lions Ferry Marina.
Okay, well, Commissioner Bryan got to hear a little bit about this yesterday. We had a meeting with the Washington Public Courts Association, but I thought I would share a little history of the marina and how it operates just a little bit, because it's, you know, it's an interesting partnership. And then Joanne and Wally had contacted me after the last meeting and asked if they could come and talk a little bit about their business. So I have somebody on here asking if they, can none of you see the room?
They can only see what you see, which is you.
Oh, boy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll fix that as soon as I'm done talking. I don't know how to fix it. View. I don't know. Okay, so, let's try this. Settings. Is that better?
There we go.
Okay. Okay, so the marina was constructed in cooperation with the Corps of Engineers in the 1970s. This was a joint effort with RCO funds used to aid in development. These RCO grants require that the facility be kept as a recreational facility in perpetuity. So I was quite surprised about 5 years ago when RCO called and said, "Are you still operating as a marina?" It's like, yes, I didn't even know that we'd gotten RCO money, but. So the port serves as a conduit between the owner, which is the Corps of Engineers, and the concessionaire, who operates on behalf of the port. Some ports operate their own marinas, but in my analysis, that would be far more costly than partnering with the private sector to do so. We did do that analysis after 15 years ago when we terminated the concessionaire. So the marina was a real mess when I started here in 2007. I don't know if any of you were users back then, but that was the Merit era. In my first week, I had multiple members of the public come into the office complaining about the condition of the bathrooms, the moorage docks, the store, the campground. Campers were not well monitored and there were no quiet hours. There was even a stabbing at the marina in that first year. I spent 1 year observing the existing concessionaire's operation, particularly on weekends when the public was trying to use the facility. I went out there on Sundays and there'd be people wandering around looking for someone to give money to and no one there to manage it. So at the end of that year, we terminated their lease in the fall of 2008. I had tried to kind of have an improvement plan with them for that year, but it didn't work out. The place was out of control and maintenance and capital improvements were nearly non-existent. So also during that year, I had researched how other ports were operating marinas because I didn't really know anything about it and learned that marinas don't really make money. That is why so many port districts have marinas that they operate. The public expects access to water for commercial and recreational purposes, and ports fill that role. There are some private marinas, but they are either usually located in areas with higher incomes than ours, or they're yacht clubs that people pay dues to belong to. Most of them are public. I spent time with the Port of Benton and the Port of Whitman and gleaned useful information about how to create a better lease arrangement that might help our facility in the long term. So we put together a request for proposals and got a great response from a couple that also operated the last resort on the Toucanon. We restructured the lease to make it so the port was committing annual maintenance funds and the concessionaire was incentivized to show a profit. We built in lease increases to try to get the operation closer to break even. The model made it so if the concessionaire invested in the facility and showed a profit, when they were ready to sell, they could sell their business and the port would honor entering into a lease with the purchaser of that business. This has now happened twice in the last 15 years and has worked as we had hoped. Right now, we receive $16,200 in annual rent, and we commit $20,000 in maintenance and capital funds, meaning we are subsidizing the operation by about $3,800 annually, or just over $300 a month. And in speaking with other ports, we are considered a very, ours is in very good shape. that subsidy is very small compared to other court districts. The lease also spells out, let's see, the lease calls for the rental rate to be reviewed every 5 years, so the next review will take place in October of 27, because their rent just went up in 2022. The lease also spells out how much the rent would increase if the port made an investment in the facility on behalf of the concessionaire, such as the pull-through RV sites. We have a whole section on how that investment would be handled. The new model we came up with has worked perfectly. The marina and campground are clean, well-run, and maintained at the highest level seen in decades. The marina is inspected by outside agencies continually, the Corps of Engineers, Department of Health, and KOA. We get high marks from all agencies. In fact, in the court inspection report from August 2023, we had 0 recommendations, a first in my 16-year history of managing this facility. We know the facilities need work, that's not in question, but that's what we've been working on all this time, and it's so much better than it was in 2006. I think the users would agree. Marinas don't make money, but upland facilities like the store, restaurant, and campground do. Our models blend the two together well, which allows the revenue generated to aid the port in maintaining the facility. So that was kind of that's our model. Just want to make sure everybody understood it. And that's why it's been important to me, because it's important to the concessionaires to enable them to continue to generate revenue. So that was all I had. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Joanne and Lauren?
Yeah,
Concessionaire report, please.
thank you. Well, after the last meeting, Molly and I listened to it. We understand you had some concerns, so I wanted to address those concerns with you and hopefully answer some questions that you may have. On why we want to be a KOA. This first page summarizes what KOA does for us as far as support. And that if we don't have their support, we lose a lot of things from them, the software, the business development, the facilities design services we just used. And advertising. And then if we lose KOA, that would again have to come out of the concessionaire's pocket to buy all these things to replace what KOA gives us, which could be anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000. That's a big chunk of change. On top of that, we get a lot of people coming to us, driving by. They see the KOA sign, so they come in and stay because they know what to expect when they go to a KOA. KOA is nationally known, and they have standards that people are well aware of. And we would lose those people coming to our campground, and that with losing the branding would be a lose-lose situation for the concessionaires. So I did a little bit on your ROI. You asked about an ROI. If we, for the pull-throughs coming in, the 10 pull-throughs at 75% occupancy, which is from April to September, our biggest camping season, we could potentially make over $100,000. That's a 10-year ROI on the grant that we're looking at. On top of that, we normally see the same increase in the store when it's in the park. So that's another $90,000 that we could potentially see in the store. That's a lot of income coming in that could help out. And what Wally and I have done with the port, they put $20,000 a year toward us, and we have worked with them and have matched that throughout the year when we've done projects, the windows, the flooring and the roofing and things like that. One of us is paid for the labor, the other one is paid for the parts. And that's worked out well. That way we get a lot more things done and maintained at a higher level than if it's just looking at the port to do it or just us to do it. So we feel we've got a really good partnership.
Can you talk more about that? So, you have a project, so what was one of those projects?
The flooring in the store,
Yep.
We bought the
you bought the
supplies.
supplies, we put the labor. We supplied the labor to put it in.
Okay.
On the windows, we bought the windows and the port paid for the labor to put them in. So it's just kind of a handshake. We'll
Okay.
identify one and do it that way.
So you painted the store
We did paint the store.
inside and out.
Yeah, so, and the main plan that we have out there, we've put in the cabins, the wagons, the laundromat, some of those other things.
At your expense,
At our
except we
expense.
put in the infrastructure, the water
Yeah.
and sewer.
Yeah, so we have actually invested over $200,000 in the campground to get it to where it is. And so we're hoping that as we go forward, since we've put 2 years into doing the pull-throughs, that we continue with those and start taking a look at, what else needs to be done and look at and I brought that with me, the phasing considerations for the maintenance plan that talks about if the boat ramp should be the first phase and it's the most cost effective and straightforward. And you talked in the June meeting about doing the parking lot and possibly the boat launch. Maybe we can still throw those back in like you had suggested. I think that's a great idea. And I also identified a couple of grants and I gave these to Jenny. This one is a $1 million grant. And I looked on their website, Starbuck is considered a distressed community, so it may go down to a match reduction or no match at all for this grant. You guys can take a look at that. And then this other one is 1.4 million grant, and it's only a 25% match. And that match, I believe I read, said can be equipment and labor from us. And I know Wally was going to talk a little bit about the parts, being a KOA vendor or being a KOA. KOA has vendors that we can get parts from in the plan. They said they could get hydrants or
It was the pedestal.
pedestals for $300 through KOA, being a KOA concessionaire. We can get them for half that. So if that's part, we can do that as a match. We can buy the pedestals and then we match to the grant. So we're open to looking at things like that to help out. Do you have any questions for us? And I would like to, if you guys ever have any questions about the marina or Lions Ferry, please come out. Please give us a call. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you up on that, so after the meeting, I'll schedule a time,
Okay.
get some contact information to come out and have some more conversation about that.
Mhm.
Because it's not necessarily not a viable thing that in my skull, it's putting it all together and where it makes sense.
Sure.
And then having the engagement of what KOA can do, what are the options? Do we have to have this level? So continue the conversation. It just, I got that sticker shock from that link.
Yeah, that's something I'm gonna talk about too.
Yeah.
Because what they're saying, 1.2 million.
Right, which remember when Joanne and I were looking at it, there was 217,000 of that was contingency.
Okay,
So,
yeah, cost
and
overrun.
sales tax, yeah.
Okay, I know as a fact, for being in this type of industry, usually it takes about $35,000 to do a site from start to finish. KOA is saying $18,000. So where they came up with this number, I questioned him at the June meeting when he was there from Anderson Perry. He just looked at me and goes, well, you don't understand. What's there to understand? I put all new hydrants and pedestals in our upper level. To a total bill, there's 11 of them, $7,000. That was including all the digging, everything, pipe, conduit, wire. So I do have experience of what it takes to do this stuff. And when I worked for the DOT, we did all the riverfront parks through Chelan, Douglas County.
Right.
And that was part of my big deal was the boat ramps, the docks, built the building of the docks and everything. And I feel our docks are still, what was it, 5 years ago, when we had all the ice damage 6 years ago?
It was,
They refloated them all new
2017.
floats. I still have more floats out there that they left behind.
yeah, we did $600,000 in improvements.
Uh-huh.
It was insurance claim.
Yeah, and sure, there's still some things, but I figure they still got another good 10 years before they need anything major done. Breakwater, the same way. We just spent, I don't know how much on the breakwater, have it all new cables run 3 years ago.
On this year and on the other half,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other section.
And all the wood.
Then all the wood done on the breakwater. And if it's in such bad shape, the Army Corps of Engineers would be climbing all over us. So would KOA. And for us to get, when I first year we came out there, they had a notebook of everything that needed to be done. They can't even write a paragraph now. The last 3 years. We
Yeah.
brought it up to that level. We've done the electrical, and Joanne and I paid for the electrical inspections. We maintained the sewer system, the water system out of our pocket.
It is very evident that the passion, the desire to have it at a certain level is there. for sure. And I would be really super hesitant if it wasn't, sitting in the seat. I'm very interested in more conversations to get into the weeds of how it can get done, rather than taking the first bite and say, well, this is just what they say. Well, it's not always that way. And also by the time you get around to it, 1.2 turns into 1.5, 1.6.
So that's what I wanted to specify about Boyer. I talked to Mike and Monica, who are in the same position Joanna and I are in. With the port over there, when they originally did that, they were gonna redo all the docks, the fuel island, everything for $3 million. Well, they got 2 docks done and a fuel island, and it went to 6 million. And
Yeah, prevailing wage, having to pay prevailing wage
and see,
makes a
that's
major problem.
where I save the port money, I do a lot of the labor myself. So you don't have to pay that prevailing wage.
Right.
Well, can I have these or do
Yes,
you need
yeah.
these back? Because I can get them from.
No.
No, I think she brought them for you.
I did, I brought them for whoever wanted to take a look at those, so.
Yep, because I know it's a topic that we've been talking about. I think it was first brought to my attention, and when we came out there, that's actually the first time I heard of it. Per se, was when we were out there, and I was like, okay, and then chewing on it and thinking about it and how that works. So information is power, and I don't have all the information, so I appreciate this. I would like an opportunity to come out and get some more information.
As far as the seawall goes, sure, there's some strapping on that I put in 8 years ago. Because we had some that were pushed out, but talking to the Army Corps of Engineers, I said, oh, that's designed to last 100 years. That's a 100-year seawall. Sure, it's showing some signs of rotting, but it's serving its purpose.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So don't run off when you leave here. I get your contact information unless it's already on here.
Joanne and Wally Knuth. KNOUF.
So when we were out there with Anderson Perry, it seemed obvious to me what they were saying is a lot of the expense of this $1 to $1.2 million is because of the amount of slope that we have to deal with, and the sites need to be level, so there's a significant amount of cut and fill that needs to be done. My background comes as from a heavy equipment operator and working construction, so in the union trades, when we're paying crews prevailing wage, and you have, thousands and thousands of yards of material to move and replace and compact and move and replace and compact, that adds up quickly. So I think
Yes.
that's what he's saying. A lot of the expense is coming from is the, amount of cut and fill and the labor it takes to do that. Whether it's $1 million worth, I don't know. I've seen projects like that go way over that, so. I understand where they're coming from and saying, this is where the expense is and the amount of material that needs to be moved. Not so much in the hydrants and that sort of thing, but the earth moving adds up really quick.
We have a local contractor that's waiting for a bid to go out. He's wanting it in a bad way.
Right.
And that's Pat Barker.
So,
Yeah, we went through this. You're right. It's like the 150,000 is earthwork and excavation,
Mhm.
and then nothing else. Well, gravel. Mobilization is always a lot, and then the bathhouse was 120,000. So having another bathroom, that was another
right.
chunk.
And I can't remember, is that bathroom because, yes, are you supposed to have so many bathrooms per camp stall?
And
Yeah,
within so many
that's a state
feet.
law too.
Yep.
You have to have so many bathrooms for the amount of people the campground can hold.
So it's not something you say, well, we can scratch that off because now we oversee.
The company we bought our cabins through are also doing manufactured bathrooms
Mhm.
with showers and everything that you pull in and set up on.
Free- free
Free
cabins.
cabins.
And that would be the way to go on something like that.
Definitely, I think those are pretty cost effective and can save a lot of money in labor because you're not paying.
You're not paying somebody to stick build one,
Right.
and you don't have to have a permit for it. You just pull it in and hook it up.
Right.
That's, oh, I'm sorry.
No,
The
go
other
ahead.
thing we need to start, if we're gonna look at what's coming up with the marina, is the permit process, because I know the permits for the marina are quite extensive.
We have to submit a permit to the Corps.
Yeah.
To move dirt, and then, luckily, there's no water involved. But also, isn't that first grant you showed me, February 24th?
Yeah.
So our plan was for me to get together with them and us to look at the grants and talk about the details of who would pay for what and how we would come up with a match if that's required, and talk to the RCO and just try to flesh it out a little bit. So because of the deadline, those RCO grants are only every 2 years. So if we miss it this year, it's another. So
Yeah.
that was our plan, if that sounds okay to you guys. Hopefully you can go out and visit and talk to them.
Yeah, I'll be out there shortly, probably within the next week or two.
We leave for KOA convention next week, so.
Okay, so I'll get
Either
all the.
this week or when we
A
get
couple
back,
weeks from now,
after
okay.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Okay.
So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming out and talking to us and explaining your side of things and how things work and whatnot. I'd like to say that I think you guys do an excellent job out there and we're lucky to have you. It's a wonderful facility. I've used it, a few times myself. And I love it out there. And I have nothing against being a KOA and looking at what it takes to continue to be that. What I also have to look at is the other parts of the facility out there and make sure that we are spending money where it needs to be spent at the right time. And, when I was looking at the 2018 facilities plan that's on our website, the condition of some of the assets out there, for example, the boat ramp, the concrete ramp is in poor condition. And in 2018, they said it had a lifespan of between 2 and 5 years. Well, that was 5 years ago. So, it's obvious that the boat ramp is going to need some attention soon. The moored docks, they were in fair condition, most of them, some were in good condition. Sea dock, it said it was in poor to fair condition, but 5 to 10 year lifespan. So we're not at the end of that yet. I know we've been putting money into them to maintain them, to extend that. So I understand that, but it's still something we got to keep in our minds, like, okay, where are we going to get this money from in a few years to do this, and how we're going to do that. The AV linear dock is not ADA compliant. I don't know when that needs to be brought up to spec.
And haven't
They
heard,
have never mentioned that to us.
never have
They have
mentioned
never-
it, neither does
no.
KOA.
I think almost, maybe it's because, maybe it's grandfathered in or something. If we do anything
I think
new,
it
we have to
is.
make it
Mhm.
ADA compliant, but.
2 mortgage customers out there that have been in wheelchairs that have been able to get in and off the docks. So I would say it is ADA compliant to a certain extent.
Or accessible, might not be.
Accessible,
might
yeah,
not meet the letter of
accessible,
the
it's better term, yeah.
Yeah, for compliance.
law. That is interesting.
We
though,
had
that-
one over the pontoon boat, I helped them build a ramp so they could wheel off the dock right onto the front bow of their pontoon boat.
Right. Other than that, I have the Sea Linear dock has 5 to 15 year lifespan. The short-term mooring, I guess there's some concrete's falling and coming apart on that, but they're still saying the old section has 8 to 10 years left in it. So the breakwater, the gangway, they say is in poor to fair condition with a 5 to 10 year lifespan. So what I'm looking at is, these are things that are saying, 5 years ago, and we're getting to the end of that 5 year lifespan, and I have the information that I have, and these are things that I have to look at. They were saying that the whalers were in poor to fair condition. Is that the wood that's been replaced? Is the whalers?
I have no idea what
I don't even know what they're
What
meaning,
now?
they mean by a whaler.
The
Whalers.
whalers.
I don't know what they meant by a whaler.
Oh,
I don't either.
I'll have to look into it.
They need-
Could be that breakwater that's concrete,
Mhm.
floating concrete. The pieces bump into each other a little bit. There's wood there and
And
wood-
rubbers and so they can,
those are things that we replace.
yeah, tables to
Yeah.
tie it all together and anchor point.
Right, it says some of the whalers are rotting. The steel hinges are in poor to fair condition, so you need to keep an eye on those and make sure, they're not, breaking off and moving a section out.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm working on right now at the far end. Not the walking part of the breakwater, but the other end of it.
Breakwater, that's.
I was
floating.
out there the other day and I got all the material now. I just need to get back out there with the generator and so I can drill and bore the concrete and tie it all back together again.
Right.
We've had Bob Gemmell, he's been our go-to guy for the breakwater repair, because he can dive too. Because they've got chains that are hooked to big concrete things
Right.
that set on the bottom of it.
The interesting, what you're saying there is, from that, what has been done to be able to assess what is still in that's still in that phase, and say, well, we worked on that, that's done, so it'd be nice to see where we're at with what that
Yeah, we
is.
could do that.
Yeah.
On that, so having a conversation about, well, it says this, well, we did that, that's gonna help us be able to say, okay, that's taken care of, that's
That's where
taken
you've
care
got
of.
all new cable down the sides of the breakwater now,
Yeah, so that, to me, that will be super
all new
helpful for me.
timbers.
Right.
So taking that list and going, all right, what have we done with these? Where are we at today with them? And going,
Sure.
And I think I've mentioned before, I want to make sure if I haven't, that the morages, I'm nervous that we'll never get covered moorage again. That is one of the reasons we've tried so hard to maintain them, because of the fish. So, I do know that, there's grant money for transient moorage, which means people just coming in for the day. But the big users at our marina are permanent moorage, and there's not grant money for that I've ever found. So we've had to just try to keep them together, and the sea moorage pipe, without question, is the one in the worst shape. And I think in our facilities plan, I think our plan was to try to keep A and B as they were, but try to replace C, even if it wasn't covered, just because there's no other option. I mean, it was probably in bad shape when they pulled it up the river in the 1970s. So,
And once again, all of those things that were in that 2018 master plan that say poor or fair, like the bulkhead and the sea dock and the breakwater railers and the steel hinge assembly. During the last Corps of Engineer inspection, did they mention?
Every year we're inspected.
yeah,
But did they mention?
They didn't mention the thing.
That it was under duress and needed special attention? They didn't mention anything like that?
Because they walk the docks, everything. They check electrical.
yeah, I think something to keep in mind, and I'm not trying to discount it, because there's no question about it, but this was prepared by a consultant who probably hoped that then they would get work in helping us to replace things.
that's my question.
Yeah, that was all done by a consultant.
Exactly, because that's why I want to take a look at where we're at with these with our own eyes and what we're
Yeah,
doing. If we have to bring
Yeah.
someone in because we don't have the expertise, okay, fine, but a lot of us can figure out, what's happening here and then what is real on that. Let's get to what's real,
And
manage what's real.
I'm out there every day walking the dock checking. I see something, I get it taken care of.
Right.
Good.
Back to the breakwater, it does say in there that the average lifespan is 50 years, and they are at least 45 years old. They don't know the exact age of it because they were used when they were towed in there. So it says they are nearing the end of its lifespan, but repairs have been made to extend its life. So, I understand we can, keep making repairs and doing that, but
We stay on top of that stuff. Either I go ahead and do it myself or we contact Kenny. And say, that's all what we have going on.
right. And the last thing I have really is the bulkhead. It says in poor to fair condition. The timbers are softening and rotting, causing compression and outward rotation of the bulkhead. Steel straps have been installed to support the top of the wall and prevent outward rotation. Because of timber construction, the wall will continue to settle and move, resulting in continued outward rotation and loss of gravel fill. May cause safety concerns for pedestrian use. The lifespan is 5 to 15 years. So
So if we could get the dams to quit raising and lowering.
Be a lot better.
We have put gravel in them.
Yeah, that's why I keep that
We have.
15 yards of gravel there. Every time they raise the water and drop it, dirt from behind the breakwater washes out.
because I would hate for, a kid be playing on there and fall in a little sinkhole with the gravel.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it's daily.
So, we don't know what we don't know, and we only have the information that we're given, and if this is what we have, then, it makes me think, okay, what needs to be taken care of first, where's the priority need to be? And I don't mean to sound like the facility is falling apart, because it really is a beautiful facility. It's in, really good shape, all things considered.
Yeah, you gotta figure it's over a 50-year-old facility.
Right, the A dock is in fairly good condition with 10 to 20 years left in it. B dock is in good condition with 15 to 20 year lifespan. These are, things that are in great condition. The ADA accessible fishing dock is in good condition with 20 to 30 year lifespan. So there's a lot of improvements that are made over time that, are taking care of these issues. I just want to make sure that we are taking care of them and not putting them off to do something else, because we are a small port and grant funds are limited and our capital is limited. And I just want to, be able to take an assessment and look at things and make sure we're making the right decisions on everything and keeping everybody happy and keeping the facility operational. That's my priority, is to keep the facility in good condition and continuing to go. The last thing I'd ever want is to see it turn into like Central Ferry, I think it's really a gem in our community, and I think we need to preserve it and do what it takes to do so. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here is trying to come up with a decision of what money needs to be spent where first. And I don't mean to sound like, no, I am against being a KOA and we don't want to spend that money and, let's just scrap the idea. That's not where I'm coming from at all. My concern is where that money goes and what needs to be taken care of first. And I'll come out and, try to get out there this week and see you guys, and we can walk around and look at some stuff too, because I'd like to have a better idea of exactly, what is really going on out there. Because, other than the time we came out there, June 22.
June, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really walked around there a whole lot, so it would be nice to refresh my mind and get eyes on it and see where things stand and have, a nice talk with you guys and see.
Yeah, well, I agree with that 100% before anybody makes a decision. You guys yourselves need to come out
Right,
and walk through it.
right. And so those are my comments, and it's just based off of what I've read on our website and in the facilities plan for there. So I will come out and see you guys and we'll walk around and take a look at things.
Once again, I would put weight on your Corps of Engineers inspection that they do annually. You said they come out and take a look.
Yearly.
And I would hope that they would give you an alert if there is anything of
Oh,
concern
yes.
at that time. So at this point, we were given our blessing for this upcoming year. So I believe, I would trust that, your specialists are telling you that it is in good condition. Taking a look at your reviews, you got 365 reviews and you're at a 4.4 as out of 5. Everything, everyone that leaves a review leaves, stellar comments. So it is a gem, like you're saying, for our community, for our county, for Starbuck, you're so close to them that it is a great place for you too, but all of us to enjoy. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you remind me again how many pull-throughs that we were looking at?
10.
That's what I thought. And was the minimum on the stay as that.
Yeah.
KO.
Wasn't it originally supposed to be 5?
They changed that when they went to the branding.
Yeah, so a Journey is a different brand, and they only need 4 pull-throughs because we have 4 sites that are already 40-foot long, and they would classify in that branding category. But to stay a holiday, which is a step above that, and it's a destination campground, which is what we are, we have to have the 10.
So there was 3 brands, right? There was Holiday,
Journey,
And resort.
Journey, and Resort. And so Resort is just a brief.
a resort has, it's a one-stop, you go there, they have the pool, they have the activities, they have everything you're gonna need to stay there for a week.
Basically.
Yes,
Okay.
And it's the holiday brand that requires the 10.
holiday requires the 10, yeah.
And Holiday, so a Journey would be, I think you said something like there was off the beaten path or?
No,
is it-
it's right on a highway. It's
Right
like
on
the
highway.
Pasco KOA is a journey because people pull in there for one night. They're going on their way to someplace else. So it's a one night stop.
Okay,
Holidays are destination. People go there for a purpose. They go there for a reason.
destination, and you are currently a holiday. And my understanding from the conversation in June was it is not an option to go to a journey because of your location,
Right.
Mhm.
because it's not off of
I
the
mean,
highway
yes.
or what,
Yeah,
main drag.
it's not by a freeway.
Where it's, you just stop over for the,
Yeah.
so that you have to be that. So therefore, that's the 4 or 5 pull-throughs that you could have. So you go to a holiday, so that takes it up to 10,
Mhm.
on that. All right, see how much? I was paying attention somewhere.
And see, we have all that property we're not using.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much for your
I think what you're doing,
report.
keep pounding out down there, because I know the community needs it, so.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay. Let's talk about Blue Mountain Station.
So the craft malt study is getting close to the end. We had a funding meeting this morning and talked about the different options for the infrastructure and the potential building for the facility. It is about $10 million is the amount for the full meal deal, the infrastructure and the building and the equipment, which would not be the port's responsibility. But it is definitely a possibility that the port would be more likely to get money for the building. So we have another meeting scheduled. Well, the craft malt business is meeting with the Small Business Development Center person to discuss debt financing and potential USDA grants that he could get. And once they have that sorted out and make sure he can handle that part of it, then we will look to curb for potentially the infrastructure money and potentially building shell. So, and Anderson Perry and the architect have already drawn a nice kind of a site plan of how it might look. And I've met with Anderson Perry several times and discussed taking the infrastructure to the end of to the edge of the site, the parcel that could have housing. So everybody's on the same page, just still trying to drill down and make sure it's feasible. Yeah. So probably in December, I would say we'd have a better idea of, it's just that to get curb money, it's a lot better to have the bird in hand, have the business that can immediately operate. So I've just got to make sure the business can finance it, they can make it work. So they have a great business. It's just all very expensive, and with the interest rates higher, it makes it harder. So it's coming along, just still sorting through the details. The consultant came up with a great list though of possible funding, and then the Small Business Development Center guy with the SBA backed loan program. So we have a good worksheet to start with, so. And I think that's, and then, I told you in the email that Val had given notice, but we were lucky enough to hire Susan. What can I think of her last name? Can't think of it, Susan. Anyway, she used to be a co-op employee, and so she's familiar with the kitchen and knows the facility, and so we hired her, and she starts on the 14th. And felt very lucky. So, yeah.
Okay. CWW Railroad.
Okay, so Jeannie asked at the last meeting about Chris Herman from the Washington Public Ports Association coming to speak. So he is coming to our December meeting, and he'll be here in person. So he is the one who I met when he worked for the DOT Freight Rail Division. So when I was first getting grants to improve the railroad back in the day, that's how I met him. So now he works for WPPA. So he'll be coming on the 13th. And then the appraisal, I haven't taken action on it because this is a budget item that doesn't take effect until 2024. But since it seemed like you wanted me to do something sooner, I contacted the appraiser And his price did go up a little bit from last year, but not much. So, for the full appraisal and then, some consulting work on structuring a deal, were we to want to do one, would be a total of $12,250. And he said he could do it in the first half of 2024.
Okay,
So, we budgeted for it. So, if that's what you want to proceed with in January, we just need to wait for the new budget year, then he's ready. So
okay.
what would you like me to tell him?
I'd like to move forward with the appraisal.
Yeah, come January,
Okay.
next budget cycle, it's within our, I forget what we
I
have
budgeted quite a bit for that.
on there.
Yeah.
So I think that is well within the reach of it.
Okay, I will tell him.
Okay, thank you.
And then the only other thing is, Seneca's not been pleased with the Fifth Street crossing, and I think I told you guys that they pay extra per car for
Mhm.
maintenance, so I think the crossing's gonna get repaired. I think Seneca's still gonna have to put in some money, but, Seneca owns that crossing. It's very strange. They own that section of Fifth Street, so it's a strange arrangement, but I believe they are going to be able to get that fixed. I talked to the guy that does all the track work today, and he said they were gonna start on it soon, so. And I've asked them about the grant twice, and I've gotten no answer. Remember, we budgeted last year the 20,000.
Right.
And then they didn't spend it this year, so I carried it over again, but I haven't heard anything from them, so.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a DOT deadline that they'll need to get it done.
Yeah, thank
That's it.
Okay. Broadband, Dayton Community Broadband Project update.
Okay, so the crews, there's still a couple of crews in town just doing kind of cleanup work on poles and where buried lines sunk and things like that. I haven't talked to them the last few days. Have you?
No, they're
Okay.
they're doing the same.
Yeah, just doing the little cleanup. They did not give us a bill this month, so I'm assuming the next one they give us will be the last one for the Dayton project. And I guess the good news is that I had budgeted 50% adoption rate for our 2024 budget, and we are already there, and they're still
Fantastic.
not even close to hooking everybody up. So,
I'm not hooked up yet.
yeah, it's gonna be even more, which is, I mean, I try to budget conservatively, so,
Sure.
but I was pleased that they're already almost to 50%, so that's a pretty big deal. People are very excited. It's been a wonderful thing to observe. And Commissioner Bryan got to see the co-location room yesterday.
Yeah, that was
It's
neat.
kind of fun, isn't it? If you want to see it, let me know.
Okay.
Come down when you have time and I'll go show you. Yeah. It's small,
Grand all
but it's
down
fun.
to the-
And so I'm just gonna be working on the final report to Herb. I would really like to have that financially wrapped up before the end of 2023. So if I could pay the last bill and get reimbursed before the end of the year, that is my goal, so.
Excellent.
Yes. And then Tushy Valley, they are really going to town. They are boring and plowing and getting ready. We're talking to DOT today about starting their underground bores under the highway. So that's exciting. We did add 5 premises to the project. It was kind of bizarre. The Dayton project covered a certain area, and then Tushy Valley started out by the trailer park and went the other way. And there were 5 houses between the two on this side of the road, including the house LaPorte owns that we rent out, that were not included in either project. And one of them called an ISP wanting service, and we called Zero PV, and they were like, they're not on there. So but, there's enough money in the Tushy Valley Broadband Project to add those 5. So we got those added. So that adds it that increases it to 55 premises for the second project. And then the BEAD funding, that is still in process. The state of Washington is going to get millions of dollars, and then they have to decide how to distribute it. I think that potentially we could have the opportunity to get funding for continuing up the north and south Tushy and maybe Wolf Fork, maybe Tucannon, but Starbucks could really deserve to be served. They have no middle mile at all. This is middle mile, which means that's what you connect to. There isn't even a middle mile line to Starbucks. And Washtucka doesn't have one either. So I've talked to Kara at the Port of Whitman about the idea of a project that would be multi-county, that would extend the middle mile through Starbucks to Washtucka, that would then allow Starbucks to be served. So, and the funders might like that. I don't know. We still haven't sorted all that out yet, but we're trying to keep paying attention, and I don't know when they'll release funding for projects or what the process will be. I don't know that the state knows yet. But we're paying attention. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything on broadband, my broadband helper?
No,
Okay.
I'll be happy when it's wrapped up. At least one project.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's,
Okay, community and economic development, staff reports.
well, I will give a brief report and then I will let Jill talk. We are starting our SEDS planning, the Community Economic Revitalization, Economic Development Strategy meeting. That will be December 5th from 11:30 to 1. You're all invited, and we will provide lunch. We had an inquiry from a business this week looking for a location to operate, so we are trying to find that business a space. I'm presenting at the Chamber banquet tomorrow night. The Chamber asked if we would give the downtown revitalization presentation that we've given before again in a shortened version. So Marcine and Ginny Butler and I have been working on that. We practiced today, so we'll be doing that tomorrow night at the banquet. The wastewater treatment advisory committee is complete. That was a short and sweet one. Had a really good last meeting. There are 3 landowners that live around that area that have been part of the committee and, have concerns of sight and smell and things like that. And so it's been a really positive experience though, to work through that with them. And Dina has, the county planner has prepared conditions to be placed in the conditional use permit that will hopefully alleviate some of those problems, but then also give them an opportunity to comment again because they don't have a final plan. We were actually thinking about for the SEDS meeting, if it would be interesting to people to hear about that, the progress on that. Would that be interesting to you guys?
I think so.
Okay, I think that's what we're gonna ask for first for presentation, and, because it is pretty interesting, what they're trying to put together. So, the conditional use permit will go before the hearings examiner, probably before the end of the year. And then they're doing perk tests on the site. They have a whole bunch of holes dug. And as long as the perk tests come in positive, the city will purchase the land. They have a purchase and sale agreement. They'll purchase the land and start moving forward with getting grants and getting it going. So
How many informational meetings did they hold?
they had two. Mhm.
Did you attend both of them?
Yes.
So there weren't very many people. I went to the first one.
Yeah, there were about 12, I think, at the second one. There were more at the second one.
Uh-huh.
There were about 12, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be informative to the SEDS
Okay.
attendees.
Okay.
I agree.
And let's see, and then yesterday, Eric Fitch and his new government affairs
Government affairs.
came, and Seth joined us for first couple hours, and we talked about our port, and then they got to tour the co-location center, and then Dave Hart gave a tour of his winery, and then we went down to Blue Mountain Station, and he let them taste wine, and they had a wonderful time. They loved it. They stayed at the Winehart Hotel. It was really nice.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Was that open?
still is, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I think that's all for me. She'll give an update.
We just continuing to do more business outreach. Like Jenny said, there was someone who reached out to us about a location. I've been working with her a little bit more to connect her to the Small Business Development Center. And I've just gone out and, done networking myself, just walking up and down Main Street. So that's been really cool. We started just in this month, the new social media marketing has come out. So I've seen it on Choose Columbia County,
Yes.
Facebook and Instagram. It's been a really awesome opportunity. I go with Veronica is her name. I go with her to most of the meetings as far as business outreach and seeing the open spaces where businesses could go. I've been checking the sort of interactions that those posts have been having, and it's just immense.
Is it?
It's like hundreds and hundreds of people are seeing these posts and seeing Dayton, and so that's really cool to see that. I set up a business survey a while ago. We've gotten 21 responses, so I'm still trying to get all more responses from that, but it's been providing some. I did it.
He did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What
and-
about the marina? Did you do it? Business survey?
Don't remember getting that.
Okay. We'll make sure you do it.
Providing some good direction so far. We hope to, again, get everyone's voice on that, but it's providing good direction as far as planning for us on upcoming workshops and networking events. Again, with social media, we're doing a Small Business Saturday series up to Small Business Saturday and kind of into the holidays. So I myself am working on those posts, went down to Main Street and all the businesses, took photos of things you can get and gift ideas for people. So those will be coming out every Saturday, so look out for those. We are part of the Horizons grant through Elevate, and so the Bill Gates Foundation is actually coming to Dayton on the September. And I'm working, they're gonna come and take a bus from Walla Walla to Dayton. They're gonna come to Locally Nourished, and I'm the one that's setting up the Locally Nourished breakfast, and then they're gonna go to Dayton schools, Dayton schools. So I'll be on the bus for that. And we're gonna go to Dayton, to Prescott, and then to the partners in Walla Walla. So it's on the 20th. Again, just SEDS planning and attending a lot of, economic development meetings, WIDA, all the things.
And she's gonna go to there's a tourism summit next
Yes.
week in Walla Walla, and I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be on
Okay.
vacation next week, so she's gonna attend that.
I'll go on for Jen. Yes.
Jill, about how many businesses do you estimate are in Columbia County? You said you received 20?
21.
Yes, so how many, is that half? Is that,
Oh, no, there's a couple hundred.
and that's what I was wondering, how many businesses are.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Okay.
If you look at the database we have, it's about 200, but a lot of them are, a family LLC or something where there really isn't a.
So we're,
business.
so we're including all of the farming LLCs?
No, I'm saying if you look at the number of businesses here, that's how many there are.
Okay.
But the businesses we work with, Tim, it would not be that high of a number.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I was thinking, oh my goodness, that number's way low if that's the farming LLCs.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Just wondering how many had responded.
She said 21.
No, I was just trying to,
Oh.
mental
I
calculation.
don't know how many you sent it to, and we put it in our newsletter,
this letter, and then it just few,
and you put it on social media.
yes, correct.
So it's just trying, and she sent a direct email to several
Yeah.
businesses.
And
with
this
business
is
list.
probably gonna go in person and remind people,
Mhm.
just remind people, I have a little printout that I need, the QR codes.
Yes.
So are you teaching how to use QR code, Instagram?
Sure, yeah. I can
So the survey, and tell us that's what you want. Instagram, yeah, that's a challenge. Our social media expert knows how to do Instagram.
Yes,
Okay,
I think that's it.
that's all I have.
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Let's talk about housing.
So I am going to meet with the Common Roots Housing Trust within the next couple of weeks. And talk to them about they reached out to me. They want to talk about our piece of property and what they're interested in. Other than that, I think I need to figure out how to kind of pull together the information we've learned from some of the other ports and figure out how to put it into a marketable document, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how far we go in drawing a master plan, I just don't know. So I'm still in the contemplation phase of this, of how we move forward. Getting the infrastructure to the edge of the parcel is big. When we get that done, that's a big deal. And it's not hard at that Blue Mountain Station site. It's not, because the water and sewer are there and it's dirt, it's not pavement, you don't have to bore, you just dig easily, so. Yeah, possibly talk to, I was actually given the name of a consultant I have not called yet that can help communities figure out what to do. So I need to find out what that person knows and what kind of services they could provide. It could be that it's just better to go straight to the developers and see what they're interested in. I know the Port of Bellingham wrote a master plan, but then a developer is who is implementing it.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'd be interested in knowing how Port of Pasco is going about this also.
Mhm.
Maybe reach out, I think it's
Yeah.
Victoria.
Yep.
Um,
Is that who it is? Yeah, I know
I have a
Randy, the
card in my wallet,
director.
yeah.
Okay.
uh,
I can call Randy and find out who he would put me in touch with. Yeah, I've talked to the guy from the Port of Bellingham several times, so he's pretty good at this. So yeah, I'll just continue to report on it. Can you continue to work on how I think we could move forward with this?
Right.
We have a lot on our little project list here, so balance how much I can get done. And that is all I have tonight.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our agenda. This time I will go ahead and open the meeting back up for a final public comment period. Please limit your comments this time to 1 minute. And yeah, anybody in the room have any other comments?
Yes. Hi, I'm Chuck Bellany. I live at 114 Show Lane, and I've used Lions Ferry, and it's a great facility. I launched my boat out there. I enjoy fishing out there, and I'd be very interested to see what Johnny and Seth find out when they go out this week as far as what needs improvements. It sounds like there are a lot of things that need to be addressed before we do the drive-throughs. And I'd highly recommend that we get Lions Ferry up to speed before we do the drive-throughs, because we only do have a limited budget. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing out there by yourself, and to commend you for that. But I do think we should address repairing what needs to be repaired with the moorage, the boat ramps, and everything else.
Thank you.
One thought with pull-through sites, how much are those per evening?
$75 a night would be the cost for this area.
And what would you expect the occupancy at?
As I said earlier, it's from April to September, it's average 75% occupancy.
So you think of that, I would have to sit down and actually calculate it. That's a lot of income.
It's 102
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
over
income.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 102,000.
So I think one thing you have to keep in mind, that income is generated and then can be put towards other ongoing improvements in perpetuity, forever. No, there, and that is an important component.
Thank you.
Right.
Mike Spring, 709 Willow Creek Road. I just have a question about the appraisal you're talking about having, is to make sure that we talk about what scrap steel is gonna sell for, or railroad ties.
It is a full value appraisal.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
So Jessica Rapport, I'm actually here on behalf of the Dayton Chronicle, and I just had a couple of questions. What's the deadline that you guys have to have the pull-throughs done in order to keep your KOA status?
KOA reviews this every year when they come out per their inspection, and as long as we are moving forward on getting those pull-throughs put in, we will keep our KOA status. Once they see that there is no forward movement into getting those, then we could potentially lose our KOA status.
Okay.
And they will be back out in June.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any comments on Zoom? Any comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, I got a couple comments. One, thank you for the work, because there's a lot of work that gets done in between the meetings, and we show up here one day a month. But you guys show up here every day, so I appreciate all the work that gets done. in between us sitting in these chairs. So thank you for doing that. Additionally, thanks for the comments in the audience. Thanks for the demeanor that was brought towards the respectfulness that everybody had as far as the conversation goes. That is critical in these things. So I appreciate the comments and how they were approached to us. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, well, I agree exactly with what you just said. I echo that. I'm grateful for everybody that came out and the passion that there is for that facility. It's a great place and we'll try to preserve it and do what we can. So thank you all for your comments. Thank you for coming out, taking time out of your busy schedules. I know we all have lives and things to do, so thank you, everybody. And with that, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
There was a big packet, not for the meeting, but there was a big packet gave out first.
Oh, that was. 620 is what.
Do we have that too?
That-